Welcome back to Pokemon Labs Premier Challenge. We're ready to get started with round 4. Robert Matthews versus Giovanni Costa. Let's go. Both these guys are now 2-1, so whoever gets this got a good shot at making it into our top 8 tonight. And don't forget, because we have 22 players today, top 4 get points, top 8 matches though. So we're going to see, definitely start to heat up later in the day. So let's get right into it. Teams are currently connecting and they are ready to go. Let's do it. Giovanni is on your left carrying Gengar, Clefairy, Dusk, Mane, Necrozma, Kyogre, Tapu Lele, and Excelgor, while Robert is carrying Xerneas, Yveltal, Incineroar, Stakataka, Gastrodon, and Kangaskhan. So, two teams that are kind of, you know, it's interesting in this case, looking at it, there are certain counters on each team for each other, but overall, there's no clear winner here. No clear one who has a type advantage. It could go either way. But Yveltal has an advantage over Gengar, but then again for Geo, you have the Kyogre, which can take out Incineroar, but then Gastrodon counters that. So, you know, it goes back and forth between these two teams. I think Clefairy is going to be something interesting to look at here because it really could help Giovanni a lot. Robert's team really banks on overly strong Pokemon such as Xerneas, which is able to set up a Geomancy, and stuff that beats stuff like that could just take out Clefairy pretty easily, like Stakataka. So he can use that essentially as like a one-turn follow me, but he's not going to use it right away, leading with Duskmane, Necrozma, and Tapu Lele. And this Duskmane, Necrozma, we've seen it sometimes just stay, sometimes Ultra Burst, so we don't know for a fact what he's going to do with that. Well, Robert is going to lead with Stakataka and Kangaskhan. And we see Tapu Lele set up that Psychic Terrain, so no possible fake out here. Kangaskhan's just got to start attacking, but luckily Kangaskhan does have a relatively easy target when it comes to Tapu Lele, sometimes able to knock out right away. But Robert, and with this Stakataka and Geo with this Duskmane, both have those steel types, which are going to be very hard to hit for each other. We do see that Mega Kangaskhan come out now. Tapu Lele going to go first with the Moonblast. Now that kind of shows us this Tapu Lele is most likely Choice Scarf. That is the most common item for Tapu Lele anyway. And the Double Edge from Kangaskhan is going to connect with the Necrozma. Does not Ultra Burst, so it's still going to be resisted, even though that second hit was a critical. And we see more of that recoil damage from Kangaskhan. Sunsteel Strike coming out from this Duskmane Necrozma. Looks like Giovanni is definitely focusing down onto that Kangaskhan slot. Does not want it to survive anymore. It is gone. Not gonna be able to move. And Stakataka does not set up Trick Room, so Giovanni still gets that advantage with Tapu Lele later, but does get a Rock Slide off. Doesn't do too much on the either side. But Lele now around 50% in health, so we could see we're gonna see what happens here. Gastrodon coming out. Robert's team definitely is meant for a slower pace here, although the Trick Room didn't set up on the last turn. With Gastrodon and Stakataka, both of them having some of the slowest of the speed tiers when it comes to VGC Pokemon. We see a Moonblast connecting with that Gastrodon. Going to lower its special attack too, which is a bit brutal because that is what Gastrodon relies on. We see Photon Geyser as well. Double targeting that Gastrodon slot. That's definitely smart for Giovanni because if he is carrying Kyogre as one of his restricted legends in the back, you want that Gastrodon gone. And Stakataka, again, not going to go for Trick Room despite the team being very efficient in it. Just going to go ahead and connect with that Tapu Lele to get it out of there. Does get a defense boost, so it's going to be a bit tricky for Giovanni to handle that with Necrozma. Unless it does end up being Ultra Necrozma and can Earth Power it. But there's that Kyogre. Definitely wanted that Gastrodon gone. But we finally see the first of Robert's, and only of Robert's restricted legendaries this match, and it's Yveltal. And there's that Primal Reversion from Kyogre. And now it's reverted back to its primal form, and it looks amazing, as usual. And there's that Primordial Sea, so not only is that going to help Kyogre, but it puts a huge threat onto both of Robert's Pokemon because a Water Spout is definitely going to get rid of the Stakataka, but it's going to possibly get rid of Yveltal as well. Necrozma swapping out here into Clefairy, which can definitely act as a bulky kind of follow me, especially right now when you look at Robert's team. You do have the Gyro Ball from Stakataka, but Yveltal going for Snarl, going to lower Kyogre's special attack. not going to matter too much on Clefairy. But if Yveltal goes for something like Black Hole Eclipse or some super strong dark attack, Clefairy's going to be able to follow me and take that and prevent Kyogre from being hit with that. The Water Spout not going to do a lot of damage thanks to that Snarl and a little bit of health off. But we also see that without the Snarl, it is most likely a 2-hit KO on Yveltal. And Yveltal going straight out for Snarl, it looks like it might be Assault Vested here because it took very little damage. And another Snarl connecting with Kyogre and Clefairy here on Giovanni's side. So that Kyogre at -2. Now in a really tough spot with Water Spout, but it will hit the Stack Attack this turn. So Stack Attack is going to have to take that. And we see the Yveltal go down thanks to a critical hit. And now Robert is down to just his final Pokemon. That's Stack Attack. Clefairy also helping out Kyogre. That is a strategy I haven't seen yet, and honestly is one of the most smart ones I have seen, because Heal Pulse is going to not only help your Kyogre, but also boost the power of Water Spout if you're down lower in health. We do see that Gyro Ball pick up the KO on Clefairy, but it was a critical hit, so can't really use that to your advantage on the next match if you're Robert. But, you know, Giovanni played this one perfectly, bringing in that Kyogre at the right time, focusing not on that Stack Attack, but on everything else. And that, I believe, that and the combination that Robert did not decide to go for the Trick Room really pulled him through here and was able to take the match because of it. Now, I am a bit interested in why Robert didn't go for the Trick Room. It might be a bluff here, bringing in Stack Attack without Trick Room. You know, it's something we've seen a lot of, this specifically today even. We saw a couple Stack Attackers already who showed Wide Guard, Rock Slide, and Gyro Ball, but not Trick Room. So I'm wondering if maybe it doesn't have Trick Room, but the only thing that kind of proves that that's false is Robert's team is very good in slower scenarios. Yveltal can even work, Incineroar, Gastrodon, Stack Attack all work best in a slower scenario. Especially when looking at Giovanni's team, you have that Tapu Lele, most likely Choice Scarf. You have Excelgor, and you have Ultra Necrozma possibly with that Duskmane, so I'm surprised we didn't see that Trick Room go straight off. And I'm wondering if Robert might switch it up on this round. But you know, this game's all about adjustments. After the shock of the first game, you go to the second game with the mindset of, what am I gonna do now? And that's exactly what these two have to do in order to win. We see that same lead from Giovanni, but this time Robert switching it up with Kangaskhan and Yveltal. Tapu Lele once again activating that Psychic Terrain right away, beats out Yveltal, and that kind of insinuates once again, not only did we see Lele outspeed Kangaskhan, Mega Kangaskhan last turn, but it's now outspeeding Yveltal in that ability matchup, and unless this Yveltal's slower and Lele's super fast, there's a really good chance that it's Choice Scarf. Now this Psychic Spam combo, kind of reminiscent of Psychic Spam from back in 18, but instead of Duskmane and Necrozma, you had Mega Metagross back then. But same typings, you have the same movesets, so it definitely is a strategy that works. Clefairy substituting for Tapu Lele here, and Yveltal now swapping out on Robert's side for Stack Attack up. We see Kangaskhan now going for that Mega. Again, can't fake out thanks to that Psychic Terrain. But it is going to be able to do some decent damage onto this Clefairy slot if it decided to target it again with that Double Edge. Pretty much an exact copy of what we saw Robert do last round. That Double Edge is going to be able to KO that Clefairy thanks to a critical hit on the first hit of that Double Edge. But it is going to go ahead and cripple his Kangaskhan with around a quarter health gone right off the bat. Then we see that Sunsteel Strike from Giovanni coming out right now. Now that is going to target the Stack Attack slot, and it does around a third of damage. Not too much, but still a good amount where Stack Attack will have issues, I think, staying alive. But it's going to come down to what Tapu Lele has, you know. Tapu Lele with the Choice Scarf usually carries Psyshock, Moonblast, and then a final move. And that final move, sometimes two final moves, sometimes you carry Taunt, but one more attacking move for sure. And that could be Grass Knot. But what Robert has to watch out for is Focus Blast. But we're not going to see that. We're going to see Psychic instead. Over Psyshock as well. Probably thanks to that Duskmane Necrozma, you don't really need two of this Psychic attacks attacking the same defense stat. But Psychic is going to remove of that Kangaskhan And another Sunsteel Strike is going to target this Stack Attacker here. Not going to do enough to knock it out, but Stack Attacker now in a low spot. It will connect with the Tapu Lele, and that Tapu Lele is gone. So now we have a pretty much an even game here. I feel like we both have the steel types on the field. We both have a couple, like, it's interesting. The only thing that's really different between the two is Robert has that Yveltal right now, and one more Pokemon in the back. Giovanni just has his 2 legends on the field, so still possible that Robert's carrying another legendary in the back. And we see that Primal Reversion. Wow. Alright, so now is interesting because though Robert does have that advantage in numbers, Giovanni absolutely has the advantage in typing here. You really do have to watch out from the Yveltal Snarl, as we saw earlier, and that could be what really makes Robert here. If he could Snarl enough to the point where Kyogre is not a threat, Kyogre can't reverse that. It can't switch out. The only thing it has to do is deal with it. So Stack Attack, I was gonna say you're gonna have to protect or switch it out here because it's essentially a sacrificial offering to the Poke Gods to make sure you win here. But instead of Snarl, we're gonna go straight up Foul Play on Kyogre, which will take off half of its damage, getting it down to a 50% power. Water Spout does a really low amount on Yveltal, but it is getting double targeted with this Sunsteel Strike here. So I'm a bit surprised we saw that because I really did think we would see the Snarl. But in theory, this Kyogre is going to be the hardest Pokemon to remove. Yveltal is going to take that Sunsteel Strike and survive another day. And really, Robert needs to hope that that was a low damage roll because that did 102 damage. And to knock out, you need to do 104. So Robert has a shot to knock out, but it's going to go for Oblivion Wing this turn instead of that Foul Play. And that, though, is not going to do too much onto the Kyogre. It is going to heal up Yveltal a lot more, where now it possibly could have taken a Water Spout, but this time Kyogre knows what it's doing. Goes for Thunder. It actually targets the Stack Attack slot, not the Yveltal slot. So Stack Attack is gone. Again, it really couldn't have done much in this scenario anyway without Trick Room. It was essentially a sitting duck waiting to get knocked out. But this Sunsteel Strike is posing a huge threat to Yveltal since Yveltal didn't gain as much as I think as Robert hoped, and with that Sunsteel Strike, it is Robert's last Pokemon versus both of Giovanni's legendaries, and it's Gastrodon. This is an odd scenario because Robert's got a shot. I know it's weird. Obviously, Necrozma's got the Photon Geyser. That's the scariest thing. But, you know, if Gastrodon's able to take a hit from both of Giovanni's Pokemon, then I thought I would have had a shot. Giovanni has Water Spout, Ice Beam, and Thunder. That's kind of the crucial thing. Kyogre usually drops either Ice Beam or Thunder in favor of Protect as Primal, and we saw that it had Thunder, so there was a chance that Giovanni wouldn't have actually had anything to hit the Gastrodon with, but that Ice Beam proves otherwise, and it's going to go ahead and connect with Robert's Gastrodon right now. That still has a good amount of damage. Photon Geyser without the terrain. If it takes this in criticals, I would have said it had a shot, and it does take it. And it's got a Z Crystal. Okay, if Kyogre didn't have Ice Beam, I was thinking that Gastrodon would be able to... If this whole scenario played out the same, Gastrodon would have been able to have a Z Crystal, Ground EMZ, which it does, and if it hits the Duskmane Necrozma, critical hits it and knocks it out, I would have actually thought that Robert could have taken this game with Gastrodon, but that Ice Beam poses just a bit too much of a threat here. That crit is not going to knock out, and if it was a crit, it might have. Giovanni also revealing now that Duskmane Necrozma is not an Ultra Necrozma. It has the weakness policy, just like back in the Sun and Moon series formats here. And with that, you know, it was a close call, but Giovanni Costa is going to take the game. You know, in that case, it really... I commend Robert for giving it his best shot there. It just is... The combination of Duskmane and Kyogre is so hard to beat. You know, it was definitely one of, if not the most tough and common back in Sun and Moon, and it still rings true with Primal Kyogre and Duskmane Necrozma. Just, especially with that Psychic Terrain with Lele, definitely posed a huge threat to Robert. So Giovanni Costa now 3-1, Robert Matthews 2-2, so both of them still have a shot. Both of them have a shot at making it into the next round. And don't forget, for all you guys watching, There's the Santa Clarita tournament coming up soon. Check that out because that's 1 week from now. I think it's actually a week from today. So go ahead and check that out if you can because it's going to be a great time. And of course, we have the barbecue at Griffith Park as Pokemon Labs always does. And that is fun because not only do you get to play Pokemon but you also and see friends, but you also get to eat food, and that makes everything better. So definitely check out Pokemon Labs website for that because I got more details over there for the barbecue. And stick around because the last round of Swiss is coming out in just a few moments, and you're going to want to see who makes the top 8. See you then.